Hey, yo, what's poppin', man? Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're going to cover how I took these 3 entries. Okay, very easy. This one is super easy. This one is also very easy. It actually plays a part in what we've talked about in a previous video. But anyway, these 2 are super easy. This one, see this one where my cursor is pointed at? This one is, I'm gonna talk about something new. Super important. Super important. So I hope you guys, again, if you don't want to watch it, no problem, right? Wish you the best, but I hope you guys stick around for the second entry. Okay, how did I get the first one, second one, third one? Now, I know a lot of you guys saw a bunch of ICT traders, and props to them, man, you know, they've got this one down. But I know a lot of you guys saw a bunch of ICT traders call this area right here, okay? And like they just called it even though there was absolutely no reference. I just want you guys to know that's from their knowledge of whole numbers, right? So you guys can see over here we have ourselves 2025. These are all whole numbers. These are all whole numbers. The next whole number from 2075, of course you can go micro level like 2075.50, etc. But the next whole number would be 2076, 2080, things like this. Okay, so for example, if you were to put over here 2080 and you're skipping 5, right? Just right off the bat, you can see how that goes to the pip. When you don't have a reference, things like this are super important to use. Things like this are super, what's the word for it? Useful. They're just very useful for you to use when you don't have a reference. They could, again, price is it could completely wash you out, right? It could be 2080, it could be 2076. You don't know 100%. Again, any ICT trader or smart money concept trader that says, oh, I know for 100% fact, tell them to call it out beforehand. Tell them to do an entire account based on that. Right? They will not. They don't have the balls to do it. It's not because they don't have the balls to do it. It's simply because you don't know 100% for a fact. But you can speculate. So let's not be arrogant here. As SNR traders, let's not be arrogant. Let's give credit where credit is due. It's very useful to use whole numbers, right? So not 2075.11, we use something like, we would skip 2076, right? Some may go 2080, skip an entire 5 just like that. Right? We can do that, absolutely. And this is why. Why do we do this? So we get ourselves a good idea, right? A good idea of where price would potentially cap out at. Potentially, not 100%, but maybe cap out at. Okay, now when it comes to SNR, don't worry about this. This is not something that's needed. It's like if you want to take a trade off of high risk areas all the time, then sure, go ahead. But this is not my personal cup of tea. What I like to do is take a look at how I can take quality trades. So let me talk about how I took this first entry, because this one is a high risk trade still, but it's very, how do I say this? I want to use the word speculative, but there's another word, subjective, I guess you could say. It's subjective. It does not follow all of our rules, but it does tap into the ability to be flexible with the markets. Okay, and so what happened was very simple, bro. Let's just mark this over here because this was our previous all-time high. Now we've made a new one. Okay, so I was looking at on that same day, right? So on this same day, I was looking at it. So here's the subjectivity of this part. Let me talk about the subjectivity first. Okay, let's do that. I could see that price had made an all-time high. Now, what usually happens, since we have knowledge from SMC, Smart Money Concepts, we know that when price makes an all-time high, price runs through the significant liquidity, right, from significant structure, taking that structure out, we know that we can expect price to have a little bit of a retracement, a fall down, etc., especially during significant times or significant windows of time known as kill zones. Okay, now don't get confused. Avi, what? There's a whole bunch of new stuff I need to learn. No, don't worry about any of that. You want me to be simple about it? I'll be simple about it. What I noticed was this: whenever price makes a new high, there's usually going to be a retracement or a little sell-off, correct? So all I noticed was this. This is all I did. You want to keep things simple? Let me keep things simple for you. I noticed that all the way up in here, this is price all the way up. Again, we go to the daily, guys. But what's the point of being on the weekly? We go to the daily because it was during this day. This was a Thursday. During this day, the price actually went past the previous all-time high. Price went past the previous all-time high. And why did I sell somewhere around here? Very simple. I knew that the next area that price could potentially react from, whether it's low quality, whether it's high quality, I don't care. The only other sensible area for price to react off of, the only other one, is here. If price came down here, would I take a sell? No, but that's besides the point. This is a area of resistance becomes support. Now, during this day, I wouldn't have known that. So what are the other possible things that I could have seen? Well, I could have said, well, price would come back to this area and tap into that. Price would come down all the way down into these areas and tap into that. So the point I'm trying to make is very simple. It's a very simple point I'm trying to make. There are no quality areas for me to buy off of when price is at this point. So price is at this point right now. Where are the quality points to take a sell from? to take a buy from. No, there's no quality buy points, not one. This we wouldn't know is a resistance because price hadn't broken above it. This is really far down, but over here there's nothing. This wouldn't have been, see where my cursor is? This wouldn't have been an open close because this guy hadn't closed yet. You see what I mean? So price is just in the state of limbo. Okay, price is just in the state of limbo. And here's another thing. Here's something a lot of you guys probably missed. Price is trading during this moment. I know what you're saying, Avi, that doesn't even really make sense, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Price is it's draw down so much. Guys, don't follow subjectivity in this case, guys. Is price trading inside a daily fresh resistance? Answer this question for me. Is this a daily fresh resistance? Yes, the answer is definitely yes. Price has tapped into it. Yes, the answer is yes. Has price broken up on the daily? So has a candle gone and broken above it? No. Even if it has gone up, has it closed as a break? No. It does. If it doesn't close as a break, it's not a break. It can still be a rejection. The wick can be all the way up into Andromeda. Doesn't matter. Has it closed as a break? Yes or no? No, it hasn't. Then it'll leave behind a wick sometimes. What do you do then? So I know price is trading inside a daily. That's number one. Number two, I wanted to take a high risk trade because I wanted to have a long swing, a potential long swing. I look at the H1, or was it the H4? Let's see the H4 first. I think it may have been H4. Yeah, I look at the H4 and I can see, oh, H4 resistance. Now, what did I tell you about long wicks? They're probably hiding something, right? So they're probably hiding something. So I go into the H1 and I'm like, aha, okay. We have ourselves a last resort and we have ourselves a fresh H1. So you can take it from either one of these. This is too high, right? So you can take it from this guy because you have to understand this is a high risk trade. Now, if you guys are wondering, Avi, I don't even think I would take something like this in real life. Okay, if you don't think you want to take this, no problem. But I'm telling you guys, if you guys are wondering, Avi, how do you take this trade? This is all I use to take this trade. Swear on everything, this is all I use to take this trade. My knowledge that, okay, when price goes past a certain high, it's likely to retrace. That's number one. Number two, there was nothing interesting on the daily over here for me. Damn, there was nothing interesting over here for me to use as a daily support. So what does that mean? That means price can either just completely fly unsupported or price is going to retrace to one of those significant areas of support, right? I knew that. There was nothing interesting on the daily, okay, for a buy, okay? And I saw that price was trading inside of this daily fresh resistance. And on top of that, we had ourselves a production of a H4 resistance. We had ourselves a production of a H1 resistance, right? All of these things are super important. Now, I know the next question you guys are asking, but Avi, it produced a H4 and H1. Yes, but it never produced a H4 or H1 after a daily reject daily, Avi. If a daily did a daily reject daily of this daily, then that makes sense. But here it's like everything happened on the same day. What do we do in this case? Well, that's why I'm telling you, this is high risk. There is nothing safe about this sell. Not one. Don't let anybody fool you about this. There is nothing safe about this sell. The same thing could be said about, oh, bro, you know, it's low risk, man. I took this sell. See, this is a previous all-time high. I took this sell. How high did price fly to, guys? This is the previous all-time high. It flew 1,610 pips. In 1,610 pips, price had completely no reference whatsoever. And you're trying to let individuals out there telling you, oh, bro, it's a safe sell. No, it was high risk. But the reason we could take that sell is because we know, right? Because we know that when price makes this, let's assume this is the all-time high. The next week could come. See, this is speculative. This is in anticipation of. But we're still adding confluences. We're not just randomly trading. We're still adding confluences. We have, this is our daily. Price has made an all-time high, so that gives it some more purpose for it to retrace. Because price made an all-time high, guys. Remember, that's significant liquidity. It makes a lot of sense for price to retrace a little bit. And on top of that, we have nothing interesting on the daily. Of course, nothing on the weekly or monthly. We have nothing interesting on the daily to keep price going up and up and up. Nothing interesting whatsoever. Okay, it's just sort of in thin air, in the middle of nowhere. Okay, and then on top of that, we had ourselves that H4 production of a resistance. Inside the H4, we had a H1. We just choose the last resort, and we call it a day, guys. That's it. You want to add trend lines, etc. Go ahead and find one. I didn't, but if you want to add a trend line, perhaps, I don't know, just pulling something out of my behind. Probably use something like this. Again, I didn't use any trend lines, but you could have done something like that. So I hope you guys understood now the reason behind this entry. Again, if you aren't advanced, this is a very advanced trade because I was very comfortable taking this trade. Right? It's a very advanced trade. If you guys aren't comfortable doing this stuff, don't bother about this first trade because these are things that happen once in how many years, bro? How long did it take for price to create an all-time high? Long time. It took almost an entire year or even more than a year. I can't calculate that right now. Okay, so anyway, let's move on to the next point. how did I make this next entry? This is so important, guys. Super, super, super important, okay? We're 11 minutes in. Listen to this. How did I make the sell right here? And even if you wanted to continue off of here, whatever. How did I make that sell? So important, but so simple. I used the power of history. Now, what is history? I've just made that sound super technical, super, whoa, what is that? But it's so easy, trust me, okay? All I did was check back at what happened the last time price made an all-time high, okay? Now, the last all-time high was right here. Doesn't matter what year. This was 2020, but it doesn't matter. The last time price made an all-time high was right here, correct? And it made a resistance, and it also made an open close that was broken. And price decided, for whatever reason, price decided to react off of this open close. You see, why is this an open close? Going back to like the first video that I made, buy, or the second video, buy. That's an open close for a support, but price comes in and validates that. So now that support becomes a resistance. Price rejects off of there. So I'm saying, okay, don't put all your eggs in one basket and think that price is going to come back to the extremities, right? Price could react off of an open close. And guess what happened during this moment here? I said, don't think that price is just 100% going to come to this extremity. Pay attention. In this case, it was a little bit different. We had ourselves an open close, but we also had ourselves a left shoulder. So in this case, it's a little bit different. Things can be different, guys. So remember, history. Now, about this whole history thing, I don't want you guys going along and thinking that this is something that is a be-all, end-all, or that this is something I'm always going to rely upon. No. This is something that is to be used in special scenarios. These are things that should be used as a confluence. The same way you don't rely or put all of your eggs in one basket when it comes to relying upon a trend line. Now, you would understand this if you've done jiu-jitsu. Well, if you've done jiu-jitsu, just because you're a big, strong individual, I'm not saying don't use your strength, but over-reliance on your strength is a bad thing, because then you throw your technique out of the window. So don't over-rely. Now that you know this about history, don't over-rely upon history. Now that you know about trend lines, don't over-rely on trend lines. Use it as a tool. Okay, you have a great eye to spot certain trend lines. Okay, great. Use it as a tool. Or you have a great understanding on history. Use it as a tool. There's a lot more about history, by the way. This is just one thing about history. Really interesting, this whole thing about history, right? So like, for example, if you know that on the left-hand side over here, there's a bunch of sideways, so buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. When price comes back to this area, this rough estimated area, you can expect a lot of buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell to happen as well. You know, as you can see, that translates over here as well. It's just really interesting like that. And sometimes it doesn't happen. Look, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Price comes in here. Nope, it just flies off. Things like that happen too. You see what I'm trying to say over here? There's a lot of buy, sell, buy, sell. Price comes back. Price just shoots off straight away. Stuff like that happens too, guys. Okay, so it's just a little tool to add into your arsenal. Okay, that's about it. Now, I hope you guys already understood the first one. This is something that is not very sustainable. If you're taking trades all the time like this, you're not going to have the best win rate. But taking over here, okay, what happened here? Very simple. We have ourselves an open close, we have ourselves a left shoulder, we have ourselves an apex. And I told you, don't over rely upon the apex, because historically speaking, price didn't come back to the apex over here during this all-time high sell-off. Okay, so be a bit more flexible. It's an alert. Oh, be a bit more flexible. Okay, so let me zoom in just a little bit more. Maybe 125 should be fine. Okay, now what happened here is, you guys know the drill already. You guys already know the drill. Okay, now before we get into this, when price sold off, guess where price sold off to? Open close? Yeah, sure, you could say that, but for me, here. Relax. Oh, Avi, how do you know that? I'll tell you how I know that. Because I didn't just go on buying and buying and buying during this candle. I waited, price came down, rejected off of here. Oh, no, it also rejected off of this one. That's how I know. So easy, so simple. A lot of you guys are rushing. Stop rushing. It's okay if you miss a trade when you guys first start off, right? When you guys know what I know and then you miss a trade, okay, then that's something too. You need to buckle up. But if you guys don't know much, you guys have just started out, relax, take it easy on yourselves. Buy, sell, resistance breaks, it's perfectly fresh, becomes support. Price comes in, daily reject daily. This daily reject daily, let's look at what that created on the H4. Ooh, okay, we have ourselves a H4 support. Let's refine that to the H1. Okay, H4 multi-time frame with the H1. H4 multi-time frame with the H1. Is there a shift from daily bullish to bearish, bearish to bullish, etc.? No. Look at this over here. Daily reject daily. Is there a H4 bullish breakout? No. If we wanted to say that there's a H4 bullish breakout, we need this to break out. Why? Because this is the high that caused that low. This hadn't broken out yet. Price is just going up. But this is a probable area for us to look for buys from. Okay, just want to put that out there. Probable area for us to look for buys from. Anyway, price hits in here. All I did is refine my daily. We go to a H4. So this is our daily, right? There's nothing interesting over here. I do know that there is something interesting over here. Something interesting over here and here. These two areas. There's a bunch of stuff. Again, this is already going into that upper daily, which I told you don't rely on that based on history. So this is all the refinements based on the daily open close as well as the daily left shoulder, and of course this guy. Okay, very, very simple. We can have a bunch of zones, guys. We can have this one, we can have this one, all these zones. For me, I'm just seeing this and I simply delete this one. Why? Because we have 3. Let's take the upper 2. Avi, why don't you take these 2 upper 2s? Because that one's going into the daily, and I told you don't over rely upon the daily. It may not hit based on history. It may not hit. Still hit though, right? So these are the 2 areas that I paid attention to, and honestly, guys, that is exactly why I took the trade. I refined it down to the H1. If you take a look at the H1, we had ourselves, this is our H4, this is our H4. This was the H4 open close. This was the H4 left shoulder. Okay, and inside here we had ourselves the H1. If I'm not wrong, guys, if I'm not wrong, I just simply took it off of the H4. I just took it off of the H4. 32 pips. If you took it off of the lower H4, no problem. 32 pips, no problem. Okay, if you guys want to look for a trend line, I'm not sure if I looked for a trend line. Maybe you could have though. Yeah, that wouldn't have hit. But if you wanted to look for a trend line, I'm sure you could have. As I said, I don't recall myself looking at a trend line. So again, don't get confused. This pink is a daily, guys. This pink is a daily, and within that daily, we need to find refinements. Again, there's so many. Oh, one over here, left shoulder, one over here, this one, and then the one below that, and the top. Just pick 2. Okay. The only other option is price goes even further up into this H4. Then I'll take another sell again, or I'll take a look at something else later. Okay, so that's it, man. That's it. You just take yourself the sell, and this would be considered high risk. Absolutely. Why would this be considered high risk? There had been no daily bearish storyline as far as I could see. Maybe I'm missing something, but there was no daily storyline before this. Okay, so you take yourself your entry over here, and guess what, guys? We close as a daily reject left shoulder, daily reject open close. So what is this? Daily reject daily. Simple. Daily reject daily. Next day. So this is what? Wednesday. So on Thursday, I'm looking back at Wednesday and going, what happened on Wednesday? Ooh, look, Wednesday has done a daily reject, daily open close, daily reject left shoulder. Let's take a look at the H4. Take a look at the H4. No H4 bearish breakout, so we can't say that there's a daily bearish storyline. But we do have ourselves, let me make a line. This one. Remember the one I told you guys? There's 2 setups. One is daily reject daily. God's sakes, bro. I'm trying to help you guys out here. Daily reject daily. And then bearish storyline starts. Okay, or we have daily reject daily. Okay, daily reject daily, and then just a new resistance. That's it. New resistance. Write that down so you guys get that in your head. Sometimes it's easier for you to see things. Okay, 2 ways that you can take an entry. 2 types of setups. 2 main types of setup. Daily reject daily and a storyline starts. So daily reject daily, boom, it breaks here on the H4, right? Like we talked about over here. Daily reject daily, boom, it breaks out. Or let's get this in our heads. Daily reject daily, like it's done, right? This is the daily resistance, daily reject daily, and it's just a new resistance. That's it. Just a new resistance, man. That's it. So you can take it from here. Take yourself a trend line entry just like this. Just want to point it out, guys, being super honest with you guys. Here's a H4. If you were to go to the H1, you would have been completely stopped out if you had a 32 pip stop loss. If you had a 32 pip stop loss, you would have been fine. But if you had a 30 pip stop loss or a 25 pip stop loss, you would have been completely stopped out. For those of you guys who like to play around with 35 pips, right there, 35 pips, you would have been perfectly fine, and good job to you guys. I remember there was one dude, I think from India, who sent his screenshot. He took that trade. I think he had a 35 pip stop loss, and he was in there. He was absolutely in there, guys. 360 pips, it retraced, and then we come back into our other daily setup over here, daily reject daily. And why would we look for a buy here? What is the backbone supporting this buy, guys? Think. What is the backbone supporting this buy? Yes, of course, it's a daily setup. Daily reject daily, H4, H1 new support. Yes, I get that. What is the backbone though? Think about time frames. We have ourselves the weekly and monthly supporting this buy. And yet, as you can see, we don't even last. Funny, right? Yet we don't even last. Okay, so that is the reason why we had ourselves this this buy from here. Okay, we had ourselves the reaction for sure. 32 pip stop loss, you would not have been stopped out. There was quite a bit of a drawdown, 25 pip drawdown, and then price shoots up for 180 pips. So guys, I remember there was this one person in the comment section, I'm not going to name any names. He had a blue black profile picture, and he said what kind of nonsense is this? It's like you only have one intraday trade per week. Wrong, completely wrong. Look at how many intraday trades we've talked about, guys. We've talked about so many intraday trades. We've talked about, I think, one, and then another one from over here at 1, 2, freaking 3 or something like that. 4, right? We've talked about 5, 6, and this one that we just completely missed out on. Okay, fine. 6. That was 6, guys. 6 intraday trades. Let that really sink in, right? Let's ignore this one because you guys may think, oh, it's a bit too high risk. Okay, no problem, right? 1, 2. Later on, over here, 3. Look at my screenshot, guys. Number 3. 1, 2, 3. Right? In this case, if you got that one, 1, 2, 3, 4. You see? In 1 week, 4 trades. That's insane. That's insane, guys. You have to think about that. That's insane. 4 trades in 1 week. Some people don't even have 4 trades in 1 month. Some people trade once a week. That's it. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I'm just saying, if you're getting 4 opportunities, come on. Come on. Stop B-wording around, bro. Right? So, okay. Cool. High risk, medium risk. Why medium risk? Because it's not a storyline trade, okay? If it's storyline trade, that's medium risk. If that's storyline trade, that's low risk, okay? Medium risk. So hope you guys understood why. This one came from the H1. Okay? Next, what happened, guys? What happened? Now, again, why do we take this buy? Sorry, actually, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 over here. But anyway, let's go on. Why did this buy, right? It's being backed up by the weekly and the monthly, so there's even more stress on this daily. Unfortunately, it didn't hold for a swing, but we did have ourselves. You guys are intraday players, bro. Look, intraday players. 50 pips break even. 100 pips TP. 35 pips stop loss, right? Let's assume you're using 35 pips, no problem. 50 pips break even. 100 pips full TP. Just like that. Another thing over here. 50 pips break even. 100 pips completely out of the game. Easy. And guess what? Guess what's next, guys? Guess what's next? What do you think is next? Again, if you're following the weekly, if you're following the weekly, right, you have to understand the weekly areas will be over here, will be over here. These are the 2 areas that you want to look out for. See this? Buy, sell, that's a resistance, gets broken. This is an open close, right? These are the 2 areas that you want to pay attention to for weekly buys, I'm saying, following the monthly storyline, correct? But over here we're in currently a daily bearish storyline, okay? And again, what do we have here? We've already traded this, remember? We've traded that buy. What do we have? We have so many opportunities. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just do over here. 4. What do? I just pick 2. That's a really nice rhyme. What do? I just pick 2. 1, 2. Let's attack this guy first, okay? Get yourself your rectangle. Oh man, you know, I don't believe in SNR, guys. I just SMC only. Okay, you know, if it works for you, go ahead. But for me, this is all I care about, man. And SMC on Euro USD, fine, whatever. Wyckoff Euro USD, fine, whatever. But gold, if you're using SMC, I don't know, man. Good luck to you. If it works for you, it works for you, bro. Much praise and much love to you guys. Daily. What do? Just choose 2. 1, 2. Daily, right? Why are we playing from daily, guys? Because we're in daily bearish storyline. Correct? Yes, we have weekly bullish storyline, we have monthly bullish storyline, but we are in no areas to really pay much attention to them. Price comes up into this daily. Now, if you want to take a touch trade, you absolutely can. Again, if you're an intraday player, you want to take a touch trade, absolutely, no problem. You have to understand, dailies hold significance during a daily bearish storyline. Okay, cool. I know you guys know, like, daily bearish storyline, you can play from H4s, but remember what I told you. If you're in a daily bearish storyline, but there's a daily resistance, that's even more emphasis. You guys understand that, right? Okay. Go H4. What do we have in the H4? Daily. Okay. Actually, no, I think it came in here, right? Let me take a look again. Yeah, this happened all on the same day. Okay. So inside this daily, H4, this touch happened on that day, so you can ignore it. Remember what I told you guys in the previous video, or was it this video? I think it was the previous video, about how if we have a daily, for example, daily fresh resistance, I told you guys in the previous video that if we have a daily fresh resistance, and inside the daily fresh resistance, we have no other choice but to pick from H4 unfresh, H1 unfresh, we can still choose those. Okay, so this is a H4 unfresh, but no problem, we can still choose those. Hit to the H1, okay, when we hit to the H1, it becomes super clear, right? H4, we can refine that to the H1. Bro, how easy is your day? How easy is your day? These are all sensible trades, guys. 100% sensible trades. And in case you guys are wondering, oh yeah, by the way, in case you guys are wondering, this was not my only trade. I took this trade too, the one that we're just talking about right here. And look, 32 pips stop loss, 50 pips break even, 100 pips take your full profits. Price didn't come back. Okay, the week ended. This was during a Friday, guys. Okay, once the week ended, remember I took that as a touch trade. Once the week ended, I looked back and I said, obviously look at the weekly and see what has happened, right? But I looked back and I said, look, daily reject daily. See this? It's open close. See this Friday? Friday rejected that daily. Daily reject daily. What do I do? This Monday, guys. What do I... Oh, I don't trade Monday. Well, you don't trade Monday, you would have missed this move. Come on, bro. Be flexible with the markets. But again, if that's a part of your rule set, I respect it 100% because at least you have a rule set. I respect anybody who has a rule set. So look, Monday I looked at Friday and I said, what happened on Friday? Okay, daily reject daily. Okay, what did that produce on the lower time frames? I took a look at the H4. I said, well, would you look at that? Right? I took a look at the H1 and I said, well, that's a H4, H1 MTF. But Avi, I took this trade same as you, 80 pips and then boom, it reverses. I didn't even get my intraday profit, bro. Guess what happened? I can show you the news on this one because it's like it happened very recently. So this was what, Monday, right? So if you go, this was today is Wednesday, so this Tuesday, this Monday. You can see it up here. We had 8:30 p.m. high impact news. 8:30 p.m. high impact news. Price tapped into my level. What time? 4 p.m. 4 p.m. Price tapped into my level. Remember what we discussed in the previous video, guys, about this trade right here. There was some news, right? Probably 8:30 or something like this, okay? And price had already reached my area during London session, 2 p.m. I know something fishy is probably going to happen because I already know my direction. I already know my direction is more towards the bearish side, okay? And so yeah, I leave. What do I do? What do I do, guys? Hold on. We talked about this in the previous video. What do I do in this case? Daily reject daily. Yes, there's no H4 bearish breakout. Yes, there's no H1 bearish breakout, but we do have a setup. And this is a daily setup. And this daily setup goes hand in hand with the fact that we're already in a daily bullish storyline. We're already in a daily bullish storyline. You see? And even if we weren't in a daily bullish storyline, news is more likely to play out with what's happening right now, right today or yesterday or day before, what's happened. And it's giving us a setup. News is most likely going to play from that one. Okay? So what has happened? Daily reject daily, it's produced a H4 resistance, MTF with a H1 resistance. Okay? And price tapped into our level before the 8:30 news. 8:30 news, but it's tapped into our level at 4 p.m. 4 a.m. New York time. 8:30 a.m. New York time. Leave myself open. What do? Enter right there. 32 pip stop loss. Enter right there. Oh wow, it came, whatever, blah blah blah. But I know there's news coming up. Something fishy might happen. Yes, okay. Avi, have there ever been times where you do something like this and you get stopped out? Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely, that has happened. Avi, have there been times when there's a news trade coming up, you do what you're showing us today, and you think you get the storyline absolutely spot on correct, but price still hits you stop loss? Yes, absolutely 100%. Which is why I always say it is imperative for you to understand that price is never going to go your way 100% of the time. If you take 10 trades and you win all 10 trades, that's not to say that if you were to take 100 trades, you're going to win all 100. There will come a point when you slip up, or maybe you don't slip up and everything goes to plan, but you still hit your SL. There are times where that happens. The point is that out of 100 trades that you take, are you doing the right thing 100% of the time? That's the question you need to ask yourself. If you are, then let it solve itself. So yeah, 32 pip stop loss, and then of course, eventually price hits 100 pips and you're out. That's it. Boom. You're done, bro. Okay, so hope you guys understand this, man. Pretty simple. I hope you guys now understand why I took the top trade again. Very risky. I hope you guys understood why I did not wait for the top. Okay, using the knowledge of history. Hope you guys understood how you could have gotten in over here, right? Daily reject daily. H4 wasn't actually a bearish breakout, it's just H4 new resistance. You could have used a trend line. If you had a 35 pips SL, no problem. I didn't. And you already know how that ended. Full transparency, full honesty for you guys, right? Again, I don't run a mentorship. And because I don't run a mentorship, and because I'm not trying to sell you something, except for trying to get you guys' time to focus on this, because this has helped me so much in my life, because I don't sell anything to you guys, I don't care what you think of me or how you perceive me as, because, oh, Avi took a loss at this one, but I didn't take a loss. That means I'm a better trader than him. If you think you're a better trader than me, go ahead. This is not a competition. This is not MMA or fighting or some competition or a chess match. This is, trading is a chess match. It is a chess match between yourself. In fact, you could argue trading is an MMA fight. Trading is an MMA fight where your opponent is your own greed. Your opponent is your own lack of discipline. Then yes, it is a competition. But it's never a competition in an other related sense. Other related means in an outside, external sense. I'm not in a fight or a competition with anybody else. If you get a trade that I don't get, bless you. You know, as the Muslims would say, Bismillah or something like that, right? Bless you. But I didn't get it. Okay, no problem. No problem. I will get it next time. I'm just following my rules. That's it. So hope you guys understand the top. Hope you guys understand this one. Hope you guys understood this one that I got a loss in. Hope you guys understood why I didn't get a break even. Yeah, man, that's pretty much it. See you guys in the next video, man. Peace out. Keep it classy.